First, let me make sure it's all going good. Yo, what's going on, guys? Turner here, and welcome back to another video. As you can see, we're playing Forza. Turner here, and welcome back. And we're finna get into a little bit of a story. Well, actually, I got a couple of them I might have prepared for you guys. So, with no further ado, we're in the Need for Speed BMW. And I'm about to get down to the nitty-gritty with you guys. Oh, the traction control is bad in this car. I might have to swap to a different car. But anyway, today's story is today's first story rather, is the highest I have ever been. And this features my sister, my brother-in-law, and a longtime buddy of mine since I was 16. So sit back, grab a snack, and here we go. So I can't remember exactly what day it was, but I do remember the time period it was around. It was whenever I had my old Honda, and it was in the shop, so I was having to stay at the house with my mother, my father, and these three people in my life. Well, my parents had already gone to bed. It was a weekend, so I didn't have work the next day. It was a Saturday night, and I was just ready to unwind. I was tired from the long work day. And they had gotten some stuff from a good friend of theirs, and they let me try it. Well, we're all back there, we're having a good time, we're smoking up, and they fill up a brand new bowl. And keep in mind, I was already buzzed, I was already feeling pretty good at this point, but their crazy-headed asses decided it would be a funny idea to give me, you know, T-Byrd, the green rip. So I just dived full into it, and I wound up clearing the whole bowl in one go. Now, keep in mind, I'm still fairly new to it, even then, because I really didn't do it all that often. I still really don't. And so, whenever they let me have that green, like I said, I freaking cleared it in one go. So I exhale the smoke, and right after I get it all out of my lungs is when my lungs finally decide, okay, that's it, we've had enough, we're making you cough now. And it was bad. I felt like my chest was on fire. I felt like I was gonna die coughing. So eventually I finally get to where I can breathe again, and some of you who may know, I have a chest plate issue. I broke my chest plate whenever I was 9, so I could not breathe whatsoever. So my initial instinct, because I breathe best whenever I have cold air being blown directly into my face, the AC just kicked on, so I take the air vent off the floor, because keep in mind, we're in a trailer here, and I shoved my head into the hole where the air vent's supposed to be. So eventually I finally get to where I can breathe again. I sit back in the chair I was already sitting in, and next thing I know, I pull my legs up, and I'm just sitting there off in my own little world, smiling, giggling, spinning the top half of my body in a circle, like nee 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 nee. And everybody's just laughing at me because of how gone I am. Then it hits me. I'm extremely tired. I decide I'm gonna go to the living room. So naturally, my older buddy, we'll call him. Well, he's commented on my streams, and y'all always hear me say, "Shut up, Christian." That's him. So me and him go to the living room. I lay out on the couch, and I just look at him. I said, "Dude, I am hungry." So he brings me back three small packs of Ritz crackers. I smash them. They're gone. Like, no sooner than he even lays them out in front of me, they're gone. So then, after that, I get up, I go fix me a glass of sweet tea, I come back to the couch, I lay down, I drink maybe only 2 or 3 sips out of it, and then I'm out. Next morning, I wake up feeling still tired, like crazy. I feel like I'm still high, like I didn't even sleep it off one bit, and it was possibly the craziest night I've ever had, and it's also the highest I've ever been in one go. So, yeah. Now, for another story, I'm going to tell my side of my brother's drunk on Christmas while still underage story. Now, he was about, I guess, 18 at the time, like he said in the video, and that would make me 19. About to turn 20. Or no, actually in this story, he would have been about to turn 18. I was about to turn 19. So, pretty much, here's my side of the story. Like he said, I had 2 shots of the Crown Royal Green Apple, and we just hung out for about a couple hours. Now, I mixed my NOS into them. That's just about it. I waited around for a good few hours, and this motherfucker just polishes the bottle like it's nothing. So he's sitting there on his bed giving me the "I love you, bro" speech, and then he goes in the kitchen, does the same thing with Mom. And this is his mom, keep in mind. We both call each other's parents, like our parents, which is, that's just how we are. That's how we've been since we met each other. Well, this dude comes back, sits down, polishes off a brand new unopened bag of Takis and another bag of hot fries at the same time, mixed in the same bowl. So he's laying there. Then he starts looking at me like, "Bro, I don't feel so good." He's like, "How do I stop being drunk?" I said, "I don't know, bro. Why don't you try Googling it?" So he Googles it, and it just shows, "Drink some water." So he decides then to just chug 3 bottles of water, which can be confirmed in his video on his channel called Hightails. Now, the crazy thing is, I am already completely sober at this point. No buzz, nothing. So, he pounds the 3 bottles of water, and that just makes it even worse. So then he just projectile vomits like something out of The Exorcist under his window unit vent, under his AC window unit. That was probably the worst night of his entire life. Meanwhile, I, being, you know, the supportive older brother, was dying laughing at this dude. It was hilarious to me, to say the least. But I decide I'm gonna go grab a few towels, help him clean it up. You know, I do my best to try and clean it up. And then he calls our buddy, who he calls John in his videos, and so, well, he's like, "Hey, why don't I just come get y'all, blah, 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 blah," and I'm like, "Well, hey, I'm fine to drive, I'll just drive myself over, Jesse, you can just ride with John." And so, Jesse rode with him, I drove myself, of course, after the worst field sobriety test given to me by the drunkest man in the room, my brother. He handed me a rubber object, not going to say what it is because he didn't say what it was in his video. You can probably guess what it is. and he says, just flip this thing a few times in your hand just to see what happens. So I decide I'm going to flip it backwards a few times, and he's like, still not good enough. So I decide to flip it forwards a few times. Because, you know, I have that talent. I do it with my drumsticks all the time. And so eventually he says, yeah, you're perfectly fine. Go ahead. That was one of the coolest, funniest moments of that night. But the best part of it is whenever John finally gets there and just looks at both of us. He sees me flipping the object. He busts out laughing at me. And I look at him and I said, dude, it's all right. Jess just gave me a field sobriety test. And he's just like, that's the funniest one I've ever seen. And then he just looks at Jesse, who's all disheveled, can't even stand up straight, can't even look at somebody without looking at like he's about to throw up. So, and John's just busting out, laying on the floor, laughing, and I'm laughing with him because like from his perspective, it is funny. I know how to look at everything from everyone's perspective. So I see it from his perspective, and my gosh, it is hilarious. And so eventually we finally get loaded up. I bring my game system, Jesse brings his game system. We get over to John's house, and John's sister Margaret decides it's a fun idea to ask Jess for a bong rip, or ask Jess if he wants a bong rip rather. So Jesse disappears, goes into that room for a little while, comes back out feeling a-okay, looking like he's about to fall over and go to sleep. And what does this man do? He crawls into the bedroom. He crawls into the bedroom floor while me and John are up playing video games. Now, me and John did not sleep at all this night. We didn't go to sleep until the sun was up. But Jesse woke up extremely hungover, and it was... I mean, to say the least, I did laugh at him a little bit, but, you know, me being a real one, I also helped him out. I asked around for some, like, headache meds and whatnot, and I brought Jesse, like, a plate of some pizza rolls, whatever, to help settle his stomach, and eventually he finally bettered up, and the three of us just spent the rest of that day playing video games. So, there's my story to that, and there's one thing I also left out, the drive over to his house. Now, at first, John was probably flying down the road really quickly. Now, I can't lie, so was I, because I had to follow him, because I didn't know my way to his house from my brother's house. I knew how to get there from the house I stayed in Swartz, but I didn't know how to get to his house from my brother's house, so I had to follow him. So John's just flying through traffic. I'm right on his tail. If he tapped his brakes, I would have slammed right into him. No doubt about it. It would not have been pretty if if he would have slammed on his brakes at all, because of the fact that I would have just ran right into him. And trust me, it is not fun ramming into somebody at 80 miles an hour. But pretty much. Then we take a shortcut through the school, which is right behind his house, and he pulls off this massive drift in the parking lot, and I go to try and follow suit and get with him, but the truck I was driving, the traction control would not let me. I even tried turning it off, everything. For some reason, it still just would not let me. So I just gave up, and I decided, fine, I'll just follow him anyways. And right as at this point, we're just driving around after that, and next thing we know, there's a sheriff's deputy drives the opposite direction past us, and I look, and I'm close enough, I can see the whites of John's eyes in his rear view, and I just see his eyes go wide, like they're about to pop out of his skull. And I see Jesse in the passenger seat slumped over, and he's just like, oh my god, that was close. But the cop must have just been like, yeah, I'm not doing paperwork tonight, so it's whatever. So he just minded his own business, didn't even care about the two vehicles that he just saw practically street racing at 80 miles an hour in a 25 mile an hour zone. And he just kept going, minding his own business. Well, so now I'm following behind John, who's now driving slow enough that if there were any people deciding to run at this time of night, they would probably pass us and look at us like we're just a couple of idiots in two different vehicles. Because technically we were. I mean, I was maybe 18 at the time. They were both 17. So, yeah. Whew, it was not a fun night. Well, I mean, it was, but it wasn't. It became very unfun after passing the sheriff's deputy who did not give a shit. But looking back on it now, would we do it again? No. Was it fun? For a while, yes. Is it funny looking back on it now and we can actually laugh at ourselves being idiots? Absolutely. Now keep in mind, I was also married at the time. And my wife actually let me stay over at my brother's because it was a thing we always did since we were kids. And I actually offered for her to come with me. And she's like, no, it's fine. I want to spend time with my mom. You go spend time with your brother. It's something y'all have always done since you were kids. I understand it. Go ahead. Go do what you do. And that was that. So we do that, and there we go. So now for another drunk on Christmas story. This one's gonna get crazy, folks. It might not, it might, who knows. But this is actually the fun one. He's probably gonna tell this story. I don't know if he will or when he will. He had mentioned to me that he might, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell it from my perspective. Y'all will see it on his channel from his perspective, possibly next week, maybe a few weeks later. It just depends on what episode he decides to post next. So pretty much me, him, my sister, and my brother-in-law, we were staying at another house on the south side of Monroe, basically in the countryside of the south side of Monroe, and we're just all having fun, doing what we do. I decided to buy a bottle of Fireball, or yeah, I think it was like a pint of Fireball for me and my brother. I was old enough, considering, 21 going on 22, so screw it. Buy the bottle, let's do this thing. So we decided it'd be fun to go hang out with my sister and my brother-in-law. My sister and my brother-in-law, they're not gonna drink anything. That's their choice. I even expressed I did not, that the bottle was just for me and Jesse anyways. And I don't know what kind of fake names I should give, but pretty much sarsaparilla. That's something I've always called my brother-in-law. And my sister, which some of y'all know, y'all seen her in my videos and heard her in my videos. They both have or they had some weed, so my brother decides to smoke with them. I decided to smoke a little bit too. Why not? And me and Jess are pounding the bottle. Now, neither one of us got so drunk that we couldn't function, but we were both pretty buzzed because, at this point in time, we both had a pretty high tolerance. And the reason my tolerance had gone up is because of the fact that every weekend it seemed like I was drinking at this point in time, and it was because that's the only way that it seemed like I could get anything from my now ex, as if I was drunk. Not exactly fun, not exactly good either, but it felt to me like that was the only way I could get anything from it. Even if it was just to cook me some food. It's bad. It felt like she wanted me more while I was drunk, and she actually wanted to take care of me more while I was drunk than whenever I was sober, but it's whatever. But eventually, me and my bro go back into my room. There's still a little bit in the bottle, so I decide to split the final shot, and me and him polish it off like that. So we're just laying there watching YouTube on our phones, playing games on my PlayStation, because I had 2 controllers from my PS4 I had at the time. I didn't have Wi-Fi, but I had Call of Duty, and so me and him were pretty much just playing that the entire time. And eventually, both of us just look at each other and go, dude, I'm hungry. So I got up and went and fixed some pizza rolls, because, you know, that's usually what me and him always ate whenever he was over. It was just pizza rolls. It's one of our things. Even still to this day, pizza rolls and hot chips. Granted, our soda of choice has changed over the years. Used to when we were both teenagers, I was always drinking Mountain Dew, and he was drinking the same thing. Eventually, he shifted over to Pepsi. I went to Dr. Pepper for a while, and then I went back to Mountain Dew for another long while. And eventually, I got tired of drinking Mountain Dew. Well, no, it wasn't that I got tired of drinking Mountain Dew. And my grandmother passed and all this, that, and the other, and I went back to drinking Cokes. But still, my brother, he drinks just about anything as long as it doesn't taste like straight sugar. That's the reason he quit drinking Mountain Dew, is because eventually it just started tasting like straight sugar for him. I haven't had a Mountain Dew since I quit drinking them, so I wouldn't know. His exact words though were, quit drinking Mountain Dew for a while, and then drink it, and then take you a sip of it. You'll know. You'll thank me later. It literally tastes like nothing but straight sugar. Well, so I might have to test that theory out sometime or another. But there's another story wrapped into another story. Pretty much the night goes by. We both got the crossfade munchies, and we both just pounded the hell out of some pizza rolls. So there's that. So there's one final story, and it is this is pretty much the final story for the whole video, and it is, I don't know whether to tell you it's going to be entertaining, it's going to be kind of sad, but this one is one that I just recently thought of right off the top of my head. This one was completely not prepared, but this is actually a story from whenever I was considerably younger. And this is actually from my middle school days when I started this channel. So here's some stuff from behind the scenes that y'all never saw. So sit back and relax, y'all. Here we go. This is the story of 2 girls that I've loved in my life. One of them is back in my life, and the other one came back into my life at this point in time. One of them y'all know, the other one y'all don't, and I will be referring to her by a fake name. So let's get right into this. This is the story of how, this is pretty much the story of how I ghosted one of my best friends as well. Because that same friend is the girl that I'm actually going to be mentioning in this. So, I was 15 whenever this happened. And the day before, I was hanging out with my brother, our group of friends, and our group of friends featured this one girl who we will call Casey. There we go. Well, Casey being her, now keep in mind at the time I was short. Like, I was short enough to make my ex-wife look tall. Like, she made me look like a dwarf at the time. So I came up to about chest level with every girl in middle school at the time, including Casey, who is maybe like 5'3.5" now, and I make her look short now. But used to, she made me look like I had dwarfism. But out of the girls in our friend group, she was actually the only one who was actually kind to me. Meanwhile, the other two girls tried to suffocate me in their ginormous knockers. Because, like I said, I came up to chest level on them. Some girls in middle school hated it. Some girls in middle school tried to make me suffer because of it. All because of one line. I'm not gonna break my neck just to look into your eyes. Because yeah, I was that freaking short. If I was standing like maybe merely not maybe a foot away from them even, I would still have to break my neck in half just to look up at them. And Casey was the only one who actually was cool with me. She didn't care that I was short. She was the only one out of our friend group who didn't make fun of me for my shortness. Well, my brother didn't either. He didn't care that I was short. Me and him were bros. For sure, we'd poke fun at each other, but not for that. It was for a bunch of other reasons, because people knew I was insecure about my shortness. I hated being short back then. Part of the reason was because of the fact that I got tired of having titties in my face. Yes, you heard it here, folks. A horny teenage boy was tired of having titties in his face all the time. And most of it was because of those two girls would constantly pull, like if I went in for a hug or whatever, just, you know, being friends, they would consistently wrap their hands around the backside of my head and pull me straight into the chest and be like, yeah, suffocating in titties. I didn't like that. That wasn't fun. Not for me. For me, fun was just driving around in my truck in the neighborhood or playing video games with my bros all day. Or sitting and chatting with Casey, if I ever had the chance to actually get her away from everybody else. But out of all that, I realized I had deep feelings for this girl. And it was because of the fact that out of all the other girls I knew and was surrounded by, she's the only one who actually treated me like a human being and didn't want me just because I was adorable. She's actually the only one who treated me like a true friend. And that's of course, if we're only secluding to the fact that she's a woman. She's the only woman who treated me like an actual friend. And who actually treated me decently at this point in time. And then summer rolls around. I go over and hang out with all them every once in a while. But then I meet another girl. Well, I reconnect with another girl I haven't seen since I was 5 years old. Yes, you guys know this girl. She's been in my videos numerous times. I was even married to her for a while. And this is pretty much how me and her reconnected, got back together. It led on from day one. And over time, I started falling harder and harder for this girl. And it was hard for me, to say the least, because while I was falling harder and harder for this girl, I still saw the other girl every day at school once school started back up. And it got difficult because of the fact that I was barely able to see, at the time, my own girlfriend, but I was able to see Casey all the time. And so it's like, shit, what do I do? Because I know I've got hard feelings for this girl, but I've also got hard feelings for this girl too. So it's like, okay, you know what? This is the one I'm talking to. This is the one I'm seeing. This is the one that I kiss every time I go see her. This is the one I need to let this one go, like completely. I didn't block her or anything. I just quit talking to her altogether. I quit going over to her house to see her. I started ignoring her at school. I started walking off the opposite direction every time she would come, every time I'd see her walking my way. And it wasn't that I hated her, it's just the fact that I knew where my mind was at the time, you know, horny teenage boy. So I knew exactly where my mind was and where my heart was. And I knew that if Casey was to ask me, hey, you want to go out with me or whatever, I would immediately say yes and completely forget about the other girl that I barely even got to see. So I had to ditch my friends. I literally had to do that. The only friend who I actually kept by my side the entire time was my brother. And the reason why is because I knew he would understand where I'm coming from on this. And I actually had to break down and talk to him about this. And that's when he told me he felt I was actually making the right decision. And so for 7 years, I didn't talk to Casey. That's how long the relationship with me and my ex-wife was. 7 years total. Three boyfriend and girlfriend. Then she moved in with me, and then 4 more married. So there's that. But Allie ended up doing what she did. Yeah, y'all know Allie. I'm gonna say her name. And she ended up walking away from the relationship completely. Blamed me for it. She lives with my guy friends. It's whatever. I don't even talk to those guys anymore because of this. Because it literally broke me up so badly that I fell so hard for somebody and then she just left me for them. It seems like. Now, whether that's actually true or not, that's whatever, but it literally seems like she was manipulated into leaving me. Do I really care anymore? Not really. Does it hurt anymore? Not really. Why? Because I'm trying my best to move forward. I'm rebuilding my life from the ground up, starting from my teenage years and coming back. I'm literally on my comeback call. I'm working my way back to who I was before the person that I love the most, deep within my own self. So, and guess what? Guess who came back into my life after all that? Casey. And she's been helping me out tremendously. She's been amazing and wonderful, and it has been a great reconnection. And I'm actually starting to learn who she is now. And little did I know, me and her were basically one and the same at this point. We both ended up going our separate ways, having our own share of heartbreaks, and now we're helping each other get through it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I don't want anything to happen between us. Because honestly, I really do. Like, she's become a huge part in my life, and she has helped me in dozens of ways, and I hope that she can say the same thing about me. Now, I haven't reconnected with the rest of our friend group, but there's a good reason for that. And it's because of the fact that I really don't want to talk with any of them. My brother, I still talk to. Not on a daily basis, but we still talk. He's got his own girl. That's our thing. Which I'm fine. I'm proud of him for finally finding a girl who will actually love him. I really am. I'm very proud of him. He deserves it. After all the bullshit he's been through over the years and all the heartache and everything, he deserves somebody who can finally bring him that peace and that joy to life. And Casey, she's been through some things. I've watched her go through stuff too recently, and I feel very deeply, very deeply, like deeper than I ever even did back then. Like, how is that even possible? For me to walk away from somebody I care the most about just to start a life that got ruined and come back and be like, I wish it had been you, because maybe this would have never happened. And in all honesty, I think what it was is, if me and her do end up getting together or whatever, I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying there is a good possibility. The reason why, and I'm a very firm believer in God and all that, and I do my best to follow him and all that, and like, I broke down crying after my ex left me, and I begged and pleaded with God, please send me somebody who is worth what my heart can give. Send me somebody who can teach me how to love myself. Send me somebody who's pretty much just like me and in the same boat as me, so that way I can learn how to love myself and love them too at the same time. And whenever he sent me back to the person who started it all, that was my wake-up call. That's not at all where I wanted to go, but it was one of those instances, and it was nice. And I don't know, it's just, there's something about her, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but without even trying, she's already proved to me that she deserves a genuine person, and I want to be that person, if that makes any sense. Pretty much, this is a story of love, heartbreak, and love again, if you catch that. And whenever my ex left me, I told her that there would be absolutely nobody I would love as much as I loved her. And in a sense, you could say that I could not be more wrong if I was a weatherman, but in another sense, it was correct. Because there is nobody I could love as much as I loved as her, because I love this other girl way more than I thought I'd ever be able to even love anyone to begin with. And the fact that she knows me better than I even know myself, and she has helped me grow and helped me become a better person, and helped me get back the portions of me that I lost along the way. And it feels nice, and I never thought anybody could ever make me feel the way I do about even me, you know? Like, she showed me the way people view me. She showed me my flaws. She showed me the things I can correct, and she showed me the things that people should love about me regardless of what it is. And it's made me understand who I am better as a person. It's made me understand how to love me. And yeah, sometimes they'll get your wheels into turning, like, does this woman really love me like this, or is she just helping me to be a good friend? And sometimes it does really confuse me, I will say. Because right now, I mean, I understand she's not ready for a relationship. She's been through too much, and I'm not trying to rush anything. If anything, I'm trying to do the same thing for her that she's done for me. And that's because I know that somewhere inside of her, there's still that broken piece that shows that she's not ready to love who she is. And I don't like seeing that piece, but I also know that like, nobody else around her is going to try and fix it. So why not help, you know? I mean, think about it this way. I've been through the ringer. She's been through the ringer. We both had our ups and downs through life. And for a while, I even sat there thinking, like, how in the world... Like, I even looked at her and I said, how in the world is a girl like you still single? And her exact words to me were, because I can't find anybody worth a damn. I said, what that means is you need somebody who's actually going to be there for you. And pretty much I've been helping her in the same way that she's been helping me, and I do it because I feel like it's the right thing to do. I don't do it just because of the fact that I don't do it like most guys would because I want to make her mine. No, I do it because it feels like it's the right thing to do. You help someone just like they've helped you. That's what you do. You return that kindness. If someone gives you kindness, you return it. That's how that is. And that's why I do the things that I do for her. It's because she's the only person who's ever done those things for me. And that says a lot. Yeah, sure, I got my brother. I can call him up at any time I need to talk to somebody. But whenever I need to talk to somebody in person, she's there. And she's made me see things that nobody else could have ever gotten me to see. Makes me happy, if that makes sense. And I know happiness should not be another person. It shouldn't. But it's also the fact that she makes me want to be happy, even just with myself. She makes me want to love myself. And the reason why is because of the fact that she's shown me things about myself that I didn't even know existed. And that's because of the fact that whenever my relationship ended, everything was all blamed on me. It was all pinpointed on me. I was made to be the bad guy. Which, I'm not gonna lie, there are some things I did that were wrong in that relationship. I learned from it. I grew from it. And I even told Casey, who I consider my best friend now, I told her this. Like, there are things I've done wrong. I told her exactly what I did wrong. And she's like, and her exact words were, you know, it's good when you can reflect on that. Realize what you did wrong, admit what you did wrong, and actually grow from it and learn from what you did that made whatever fail. She said that is true signs of growing into your own person. And that stuck with me. So now, am I in love with this girl? Deeply from the bottom of my heart, yes. Will I be hurt if we don't get together? I don't know. Would it matter to me that much? I don't know. But I will say this. If she does decide to be with somebody else, the only thing I can do is hope and pray that they see her the same way that I see her. And the reason I say that is because I can't bear to see that girl get heartbroken. Again. I wouldn't want her to. And it's one of those things is I know now how to take care of her heart. I've been around her long enough to know exactly what she needs. And do I want to be that guy that does it? Yes. Is it going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. But if God ever sees fit, Lord be willing, I'm willing to put in the work to do what I know I can do. And a lot of people say confidence is key whenever it comes to getting somebody. It really isn't. The key to getting somebody is them knowing who you are, what kind of person you are, and them knowing that you would be there to take care of them if they needed you to. That is what counts. Yes, confidence works whenever you're planning a date. On your initial first impression, yes, you'll need confidence. But the other thing is just let life take you wherever it takes you. And just see what happens. If something's meant to happen, it will. If it's not meant to happen, it won't. That's not your choice. That's the only thing, is it's not your choice. And I've expressed that a lot with everyone. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. What's not meant to happen won't happen. It's not your choice. It all depends on what the man upstairs decides should happen for you. Is that an Amazon van? Either way it goes, there's that story. Love, love, heartbreak, love again. Did I ever tell this girl how I felt back then in middle school? No. Why? Because, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little wuss. So I went for easy. I went for the first girl who told me that she loved me. Am I like that now? No. Now I'm trying to go for the first girl who has actually proved that she deserves it. The only thing is, she won't go for it until she believes that she deserves it. So, now I'm trying to help her love herself. I'm trying to do the same thing she did for me for her. Why? Because that's what a true friend does. A true friend helps those in need. Helps their friends out whenever they need somebody. So, with that, those are the stories I have for this. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.